Well, it happened again this week, a drag show at a high school hosted by that school's so-called Gay Straight Alliance. This time it was Ann Kenney High School in Iowa. Cross-dressing males were brought up on stage in the school's auditorium to gyrate around on stage in their woman face makeup and absurd outfits. According to the Daily Wire report, one of the performers also delivered a speech about his gender transition. He told the kids in attendance, quote, "When I felt like I couldn't express myself in school, or I felt like I had to look like this at school, I could be whoever I wanted to be. And I started to think, what is gender? And I realized that no matter what pronouns you use, you are who you are. I know on the inside that I am who I am." Now, it doesn't mean anything, of course, but it's not supposed to mean anything. There is a message here, but it's not one that is communicated through intelligible, coherent sentences most of the time. Libs of TikTok, which first published the videos of this event, says that students, the minors at the school, were also brought up on stage to dance. So for the school's part, they say that this was not an official school event and that it was not conducted in accordance with their policies. It is under investigation, they say. They want to make sure that the drag show was in accordance with their policies. It looks like it might not have been. But it's, of course, impossible to believe that the auditorium was used for a drag show and the administrators didn't know about it, or that they did know about it, but they didn't know what a drag show entails. That seems to be kind of what they're claiming, that they saw the videos and they're like, oh, that's a drag show? Well, that's clearly, we don't want that. But they're feigning ignorance, of course, which is the same thing that happened a week or two earlier when a different high school, this one in Pennsylvania, notice the states involved here, Iowa, Pennsylvania, okay, not Washington, Vermont, California, although these things are certainly happening in those states as well. But they held their own GSA-sponsored drag show. Grown men in makeup, wigs, thongs, performed a burlesque routine for children at Hempfield High School. This is certainly not something that any mentally stable person wants to see, particularly right around lunchtime. But I'm going to play some of the footage for you anyway, because you need to understand just how over-the-top, creepily sexual this was. Here it is. Okay, you've probably seen enough of that. So you get the gist. Nothing to see there, just a grown man in a thong on all fours shaking his ass for a group of school children. The administrators in this case say that they were appalled by what took place, but coincidentally, they were only appalled when parents found out about it and complained. A teacher named Kelly Tyson, who's an advisor for the GSA Club, expressed her delight and joy in watching this pedophilic display, but she also confessed to something else inadvertently, which is quite damning for the school administration. She wrote in a social media post, quote, "I don't know how to explain the sheer joy I feel in my bones when these queens come take time out of their busy schedules to perform for us, year 3, and to be with my students. As GSA co-advisor and a queer teacher, it makes me emotional to think of this space we've created. I would have loved nothing more than have a space like they have, an opportunity to attend their own drag show." Year 3, she says. So they've been doing this for 3 years, and the administration just noticed how appalling it is. That's what we're supposed to believe. And it's obviously total nonsense. So what is actually going on here? And what's with the leftist obsession with drag in particular? They've got Drag Queen Story Hour, drag shows at high schools, drag shows at all their gay pride events, drag shows on TV, drag reality shows. Why? Along with all the other problems with this stuff, I mean, the many, many problems, especially when kids are involved, it's not even like these dudes are talented dancers or performers. They're just weird-looking guys in ugly outfits dancing badly on stage. What's the point? I mean, even if it was only adults in the audience, why would anyone want to see that? Why has drag in particular become such a central component of the left's culture war strategy? I think there are a few reasons for that. And it's worth thinking about. One, drag contributes to the sort of costumification, if I can coin my own word, of womanhood. The drag performer makes womanhood into this cartoonish, gaudy, ridiculous thing. He turns it into a stage performance, a costume. It's no surprise that the drag queen at the one school event, gave a speech about gender identity and talked about how drag helped him get in touch with his inner female identity, because this is how the left sees womanhood. They see it as a cheap, degraded, hypersexualized thing, which is interchangeable and superficial and can be taken off just as easily as it's put on. That's one reason why they love drag, because of what it does to womanhood, how it portrays womanhood, how it cheapens it. That's what they like about it. Also, drag is an assault not only on femininity, but also on beauty. And anything that assaults femininity also assaults beauty. It is a protest against traditional notions of beauty, womanhood, and so on. Everything the left does is targeted to tear down whatever they think is traditional, as traditional to them is synonymous with archaic or oppressive. And when these drag performances are staged for children, it's also meant to tear down and sever the parent-child relationship. The author Carl Trueman, who appears, by the way, in my film, What is a Woman?, premiering June 1st, which is next Wednesday. Make sure you're there. Get your membership. He made this point in an interview with the Daily Wire published today, which is very interesting and worth going to read the whole thing. But he says, quoting from him, he says, "Children are the perfect targets for groups whose purpose is the subversion of the parent-child bond and the consequent strengthening of the power of a progressive establishment. Destroy the bond between parents and children, and you have destroyed the most powerful and influential pre-political bond of influence and loyalty that stands in the way of various lobby groups trying to drive the direction of our culture." Couldn't have said it better myself. But there's one other factor to consider here, and that is cowardice. Okay, there's a whole lot of cowardice that leads to things like this happening in our schools. The administrators are, of course, lying when they claim ignorance. They know that this sort of thing is going on. Every time a teacher is exposed for grooming, indoctrinating children, the administrators know about it. They knew about it before that. It's never subtle. I mean, you see all these TikTok videos that they're posting. I mean, first of all, they're posting TikTok videos. They're not hiding it. And then you see all these teachers, they always have rainbow flags draped all over their classrooms. You know, and they've got the purple hair and rainbow earrings. And it's like they've got a walking advertisement saying, this is the only thing I care about. This is all I talk to my kids about. Not hiding their intentions. So do the people in charge go along with this because they are themselves LGBT radicals intent on grooming children? In some cases, yes, certainly. But especially if we're talking about a situation in California or Vermont or Washington State or something like that, then it's very likely that everybody involved, if we're talking about a school, is an LGBT radical. But at a school in Iowa, are the administrators a bunch of LGBT extremists? Maybe, but probably not. They simply lack the courage to tell the LGBT extremists to cool it, knock it off, keep the crap out of the classroom. They know better, some of them. They don't have the backbone to stand up to the LGBT bullies, so they let them do whatever they want. And I do mean whatever they want until the backlash from outside forces their hand. So this is the formula. LGBT extremism and the cowardice that enables it. You add that together and you get cross-dressing adult men twerking on stage for children. And you get a whole lot more beside that. And none of it, of course, is good. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there so you can stay up to date on all of our future content.